Well, hey, welcome everybody to our session here on Google Slides photo words. This is actually an advanced webinar on this topic. So happy for you guys to be here tonight watching live, or hey, if you're watching the recording later, thank you so much for taking time to do so. Before we get started, I want to do a little housekeeping here. And the first thing is I want to make sure everybody can get to all of the resources that we're going to be looking at here tonight. And so you'll see on the screen, I've got a bit.ly link, bit.ly/Kurtz-photo words. That will take you to a Google document. That document looks like this, and that document has all of the resources that we're going to be exploring during this session. Lots and lots of great stuff in there. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but I want to make sure everybody can get to that. And of course, when you do get there, please feel free to make a copy of that document if you want, or bookmark it, add it to your drive, whatever works for you would be great. Again, that's at bit.ly/Kurtz-photo words. And I can drop that into the chat as well if that is more convenient for folks. I'll go ahead and drop that in there for you. Hopefully that is showing up for you there as well. Speaking of the chat, I see a lot of people chatting away already. So thank you so very much for everybody who's saying hello. Please do so. Please feel free to introduce yourself, say where you're from. I see a lot of folks that I know and a lot of folks that I don't. So that's fantastic. I see we've got folks from all over the place. I see Massachusetts, Georgia, Wyoming, Australia, Taiwan. We are international. That is fantastic. So I'm going to give you guys just a moment to pull up that resource document. While you're doing that, very quick introduction here. So howdy, everybody. My name is Eric Kurtz. I'm a ed tech coach and ed tech specialist in Northeast Ohio. This is year 31 for me in education. So that's my day job, working with schools here in the Northeast Ohio area. And then on the side, I run the website Control Alt Achieve, where I share lots and lots of ed tech resources. And you can get to all of these links if you want to connect with me, whether it's Twitter, YouTube, my blog. All of these are going to be found right at the top of that agenda document. You'll see my blog, Control Alt Achieve, email, Twitter, YouTube. There's a couple of other links there you may want to check out. I do have a newsletter that I send out typically once a week. There's a link there if you want to sign up for my weekly newsletter. I also have an email discussion group if you want to be able to talk back and forth and share ideas and questions with hundreds of other amazing people. There's a link here to join the Control Alt Achieve email discussion group. I also have my Control Alt Achieve book that is available as well. That link is in here too. So all of that's going to be at the top of that document. Please feel free to take advantage of any of those links up there. So that's a quick introduction for who I am. Next up, while we're still looking at the document, I'll also mention right below my contact info, you'll see a link for a sharing document. So throughout this session tonight, perhaps you're going to create something that you want other people to be able to take a look at and see what you made. Now, no obligation. I don't want anybody to feel like you have to share what you create. Not a problem, but if you want to, I do have a link here to a sharing document, and that will open this document up that is editable. You're allowed to type in this document. And so throughout the session, if you create a cool thing that you want to share, you can do that in a number of ways. There's quite a few ways you could do that. You could take your photo word that you create, you could download it as an image and then insert that image into the sharing document. You could share it as a viewable link so other people can see it, or you could publish it to the web and share that link as well. A lot of possibilities there. So again, if you want to, feel free to use that sharing document to share things you create, or if you've got comments or resources or any other content that you want to share with folks during the session, that's a great way to do it. In addition, please do use the chat all throughout the session. If you've got questions, feel free to throw them in the chat there. I'm going to do my best to keep an eye on the chat and take your questions and answer those during our session here. Fantastic. All right. Well, I think hopefully that gave everybody a chance to get settled in, get a chance to get everything pulled up. Again, bit.ly/Kurtz-photo words will get you to that document. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about what we're going to be doing here tonight. Now, I mentioned that we're going to treat this session as an advanced photo words session because I think a lot of folks that are here tonight probably have already seen my initial shorter video on the topic of photo words. If you haven't, that is in the agenda document. If you scroll down into the to page 2 where the general resources are, you'll see I did a blog post just earlier this week on creating photo words with Google Slides, and I included a 16-minute video in that blog post. And so if you haven't had a chance to check that out later on, definitely do so. Head on out to Control-Alt-Achieve. There's that 16-minute video, and it goes through a lot of the basics of creating a relatively simple photo word. I think the one that I created for that was my one word of the year. So this one was pretty straightforward. It was just one image and one piece of text that the image was inside of. And that was it. I kept it really, really simple because I wanted everybody to be able to get the idea of how this works. And then using this session as a chance to go deeper and to get into some more advanced things. So for this particular session, I'm going to assume that most people have at least seen the basics of this. And so we're going to actually jump into, we'll do a couple quick examples here, but we're going to jump over the basics of making a photo word and jump right into some of the advanced options, because that I think is what we want to do, is spend some time seeing how we can do more with it. Now, if you've never done one before, you'll still be okay. Just be aware we are going to be exploring some of the advanced options. And of course, giving you a chance to share your photo words if you would like to. All right. With all of that said, I think we are ready to get going here. So let's go ahead and start off with our first thing, which is talking about some examples and uses for photo words. And again, I'm going to keep this real quick because I think a lot of you probably have seen this portion of it. Now, if you are in the agenda document, all of these are linked in here as well. So you can pull up any of my examples if you do want to take a look and see some of those. So some of the things that I guess I should start by saying I came across some really cool things. Now, I did not create these. Some really cool things like this word surf with a surfer in it, and florist with flowers, and the hello word with the skyline in it, the Hawaii one, and then the forest. I've seen these kind of things on the internet, and I wondered how people were creating them. And it turned out a lot of times they were using things that were like Photoshop or some more advanced tools. And of course, because I'm a person who wants to make sure I can share these cool ideas with all the schools I work with, and not everybody has access to some of the higher end tools, I wondered, could this be done with Google tools, things we already have, things that are free that schools have access to already? And yes, I was able to figure that out using Google Slides, how we could create photo words. And I went on and did a whole bunch of examples. And I know some of you have already seen some of these. So I did my one word of the year. I did one where I put myself inside of each letter of my name. I did one where I showed the different places I visited during last year. I did one for Ohio, where I live. I did a cool one for the New York skyline with some water below it. Did one with a sunset. Did one with somebody diving, a scuba diver diving underwater. I had fun with this one with a burger, where I put the word burger in the middle of it. And then I even got into animated GIFs, trying to figure out how to create animations with these. So that's what I did. I figured out how this could be done, and I thought that would be a really neat thing to share with educators, because I think there's a lot of really neat things you could do with this. And I'll tell you, ever since I shared this on Monday, my goodness, the amount of things people have shared online have been just so impressive, which, by the way, if you're in the agenda, I put in a link to a shared folder in Drive where people who've been kind enough to share their creations, I went ahead and dropped those in here. So if you're on page 2 of the agenda there, and you click on that link for the shared photo words folder, you'll see there's a whole bunch of them in there that people have been so kind to share. And I'm just amazed at how creative and what an awesome job people have done. I can't just pick one. I'll try to pick something as an example, but like, here's a really awesome one taking the word climb. And I thought this was so neat how they put, the picture inside of it, but they also allow the picture to be below it. And it just caught right there where these two people are climbing up this mountain inside of the M. What a neat example there. So there's a whole folder there, and I'll add more to that as people share things, which I think is great. And yeah, Wanda, I'm right with you. Love it when teachers share. Thank you so much for mentioning that. That is so true. And that has been one of the things that I have benefited so much from this, is your amazing ideas. And it has been just so cool to see what people have been thinking here. And so, like I said, there's all kinds of stuff you could do with this, whether it's taking a vocab word from any subject subject area. It does not matter what the subject area is, and visualizing it, creating your one word for the year, summarizing a story. One of the teachers who contacted me this week said that's what had the students do is they took a book they had read and they all had to pick one word to summarize that story and make a photo word for it. Then they had this, this whole collection of all of these words describing the story with the pictures inside of them. You could also use this to learn a new word, whether it's in your language or a language that you're learning, because then you can visualize the word inside of the picture, that it goes along with. You can represent a location, tell about yourself, recap a year, make a logo, so many other ideas. So really excited to see what people do with this. Okay, so that's pretty much where we were when I did my blog post earlier this week with my 16-minute video on the basics of creating a photo word. What we want to go into now, though, is some stuff that's a little bit more advanced than that. So all of the stuff you see here, these are the same directions we went through in the blog post and in the video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to head on down to page 5 of our agenda document. Page 4 and page 5, kind of where it crosses over there. I've got a section called Advanced Options. That's really what I want to camp out on here tonight. And I've got 4 examples I'm going to try to show you in the time that we have. And so I hope I'll get through all 4 of these, but I'm also very happy to take questions from you. And so if we zig and zag and go a different way, that's okay too. But the idea is to go through some of these advanced options, some things that I did when I was making my animations and I was making my other ones that I didn't feel, I thought, oh, this would be too overwhelming. This would be way too much to try to put in an introductory video. So that's why I really kept that first one very stripped down and very simple. And tonight, the idea is to start going into some of these other things and see what we can do with them. So that's the plan. And the ones that I intend to be showing you guys here tonight, these are the 4. The first one is creating one where you put more than one picture inside of the photo word. So it's not just one image, there's multiple images. And also, this is one where a big question that came up a lot of times, people were saying, is there a way that you can put a border around the text without getting a border around the word art? And I did that for this one, and I'll show you how that's done. We'll also look at cool things like putting in drop shadows or changing the background, even doing maybe like a gradient for the background. So we'll be doing one with multiple pictures in there, and we'll be talking about, being able to change the background gradient and also to be able to not have a border around the word art, but around the letters in there. Another one that I want to do tonight is one where you have the picture inside of the word and then also extending outside of it. I thought that would be a good example to show you how you can put it in there, but also have it coming down below. And again, we can look at variations here where maybe we put, a border around it. Maybe we do a drop shadow. Maybe we change the background. Maybe we even put in a semi-transparency there where you can still sort of see the rest of the picture, but boom, it pops that out there. So we'll look at some of those. And then animation, 2 examples for that. And we'll talk about the different ways we can do that. I got one with fire and one with a race car. And so because there's 2 different ways you can approach animation. So that's my plan. That's my thought for our time together here tonight. As we go through these, I'm going to basically recreate them from scratch and kind of talk you through what was my process when I make these, and hopefully you'll pick up some tips and tricks. Now, I do want to let you guys know, I'm not saying this is the way to do it. There's not like one right way to do this. I'm just going to show you some tips and tricks and ideas. You guys just run with them. Do your own thing, because I guarantee you're going to find ways to twist and turn this and do amazing things with it that I never thought of. The only thing I ask is please share it with me. Please let me know, because I want to learn from you guys as well. So that's it. All right. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and clean up the screen a little bit here. I'm going to take off the banner. I think everybody's had a chance to see that, bit.ly/Kurtz-photo words. And I'm going to go ahead and take myself off the camera so we can just focus on what we're looking at here now. And we're going to go ahead and get on into this. All right. So let's start by saying I want to create this first one where we've got a photo word that has more than one picture in it. And we're making some of these other adjustments here. So I'm going to start off by creating a blank slideshow just as normal. normal, nothing unusual there, just creating a blank slideshow. And I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the text that's here. And I'm going to add in my word. Now, again, if you want to follow along and try this out yourself, please feel free to do so. And you do not have to do what I'm doing. You don't have to use, the same thing. Like I'm going to use my name. You could use any word that you want. But if you do want to follow along, please feel free to as well. So I'm going to start here. Let's give this one a title so I don't forget what it is I am doing here. I'm just going to call this one example, my name. There we go. That way I'll know which one it is with all the tabs I got going on here. So I'm going to start off by inserting my word art. Remember, that was the first thing we did with this, was we added the word art that the image is going to go inside of. So in my case, I'm just putting in my name, Eric, E-R-I-C, and I'm using all capital letters. I found that that's better because you can get, more of the picture showing through with a larger letter there. Now, one of the key things that you may recall from this is that we do need to change the font. That is critical to this. We have to use a different font than what you might normally be used to. We have to use one called Zilla Slab Highlight. Now, if you haven't set that up yet, you still can do it. You've got plenty of time. Just go to your fonts drop down, click on more fonts, and just do a quick search for Zilla, Z-I-L-L-A. And there you'll find one called Zilla Slab Highlight. That's the one we're going to use, because when you use Zilla Slab Highlight as your font, what it is it's an inverted font. Instead of having the color inside of the letters, it's transparent inside the letters, and it's colored outside of the letters. That's why this works. That's the only way this works. That this would not work any other way inside of Google Slides. Now, there's other tools that can do this. Absolutely. Some people sent me some emails and tweets about using other tools. And yes, there are so many other awesome tools you can use to accomplish this. But if we're trying to use slides, this is pretty much the way that I have found to make it work. So we're going to take our word art and we're going to format it with the font Zilla Slab Highlight. Once we've done that, what I like to do is then make it bold, because I want to get, as much space in these letters as I can. So I'm going to click on here and I'm going to click on the bold, and then I'm going to make it larger. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the corners here, stretch this out a little bit. And so far, so good. Okay, we're doing okay. I'm happy with that. That looks pretty good. Now, here's where we're going to start moving a little off of the basics. From here on out, I'm going to start moving into the deeper end of the pool, because what I want to do here is I want to be able to do a couple of things. One is I want to make sure that the final result is well balanced. And right now, if you look at this, there's a lot of space here on the top and the bottom, whereas there's not as much space on the sides. And you say, well, Eric, you could just stretch it. And you're right, I could stretch it, but then it's going to look kind of funny. It's going to look odd. I like the letters the size they are. Here's the problem. And this is one thing I did not address in the basics video. We basically need to consider changing the size of our slide, because the slide is basically a wide format, like a 16:9 ratio there. And that's not always appropriate for the words you're working with. In this case, I really do not need my slide to be this tall. Now, how do you change the size of your slide? Well, normally you go to File, you go to Page Setup, and then here you can adjust the size of the page. Here's the problem. If you've already started building it, when you go to change the size of the page, it's going to distort what you've done. I'll show you what I mean. So again, if I come here and I go File, Page Setup, and I go to Custom, and I go, it's a 10-inch by 5.63-inch slide. Maybe I make that 10:4 instead. So maybe I only want it to be, 4 inches tall. If I do that and hit apply, it's going to become 4 inches tall, but it squished my name. And that's not, I was trying not to have that happen. So instead, here's what we're going to do. And I know that sometimes this makes people a little bit nervous. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my word art and I'm going to copy it. So I'm going to copy the word art. I'm going to temporarily delete it. Okay, it's really fine. Nothing bad's going to happen here. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to temporarily delete it. Now I'm going to come here to my page setup and I'm going to change that to a 4-inch tall slide. And now I'm going to paste back in my word art. And now what I'm going to do, let me back up a little bit. Let me go to my zoom and just zoom out a little bit so we can see it better. Now, if I move this around and tell you what, let's make it transparent. Let's use the fill button and let's make it transparent so we can see through it. You'll see that as I move my word art around, it's going to fit so much better on there. I really like that. That's looking a whole lot better now. And so that's one of the things that I did with most of the ones I created. If you look at these, like the sunset and the zoom, that's how big the slide is. I made the slide really short, so it's long and short. So I tend to like to put the text in first. Go ahead and put the text in. I've got to find my tab again. I like to put the text in first. And then after I've got it in, then go, how should I adjust the size of this? And then I will often, again, copy the text, delete the text, go into my page setup, and then make the change. In this case, this one is 10 inches wide by 4 inches tall. That seemed to work well. And then, of course, I can just put that right back in there. All right. Now, that's one of the things that I did not talk about in the other video that I think really can create a much more attractive looking final product, because even though the word art extends outside of this, that's not going to show up. It's only going to be whatever is on the slide. If you look in the little slide preview in the top left corner, you can always see what your slide is, what your final product is going to look like. Now, the next thing, and this was another thing, well, we'll hang off on a second. I'll show you the next thing here in just a moment. We'll get to that. Let's do this. Let's say we're ready to put our picture in now. So far, no worries. We've got our word art in. We've changed the size of our slide. Let's go ahead and put our picture in. So for mine, I think what I did was I did like a keyboard. I put a keyboard in the background. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to go to Insert Image, and I'm going to say, let's search the web, and I'm just going to look for a white keyboard. Actually, I think that's what I used. And oh my gosh, there are so many to choose from. I'll just see if I can find the one. I don't know if I can find the exact same one that I used. If I can't, that's really not a problem. But if I find the same one I used, then all the better. Not seeing it. Actually, I don't know. That might have been it. I don't know. That's okay. I'll just pick one of these. They'll be okay. I can certainly go with one of these keyboards here. So let's just go up and I'll grab one that looks decent here. Let's see. Sorry about that, guys. Just trying to find one that looks halfway close to what I was doing before, and that's fine. We'll just, you know what? We're just going to grab one of these and we'll make it work. That one's got grass growing up through it. That's really cute. I've not seen people do that with a keyboard before. Let's go ahead and we're just going to use this one. That'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's not the same one. But it's going to be just fine. Okay. So now I've put in my keyboard. So I'll go ahead and I'll resize this so that it's going to kind of fit over the letters there. And remember, this is where we changed the transparency so that we could see where we were lining things up. So I'm going to click on my image that I inserted. I'm going to go to Format Options, and I'm going to go to the Adjustments section. And that's where we slid the transparency. And that allowed us to see a lot better, like, okay, how is this lining up? Like, I want to at least see some of the letters popping through on the keyboard there, and if I can't see the letters, that may not look too good. And so here I'm kind of like, okay, I got the Z, the G, looks like the E, the D, the W, the S. Okay, that's kind of nice, And so by having this transparency from going from not transparent to maybe halfway transparent, that really helps you to be able to line things up and see stuff a whole lot better there. So we're doing pretty good. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. That looks pretty nice. If I want to, I can probably drop that transparency back down, and now I can push that picture behind my my word art. And remember, to do that, there's so many options. You can right click, go to order, and send it backwards. You can press Control or Command down arrow. That's what I like to do. So I'm just going to press the Control down arrow to move it behind. Now, it may be hard to see, so I'm going to go ahead and fill in my word art background again. I'm going to click on my word art and use the paint can to temporarily fill it back in. And you can see that's coming together pretty nice. I'm happy with that. That looks pretty good. Again, I had that transparent for a moment so I could kind of see both of them at the same time there. But if I do fill that word art background in, it's starting to come together. I'm liking that. That's pretty good. Now, I don't want the image of the keyboard to extend outside of my word art. I don't want it peeking around the edge. So I'll probably double click on that. And by double clicking on the image, it brings up the cropping bars. And now I can crop that in so that it's not sticking out around my word art there. So that looks pretty good. Pretty happy with that. So far so good. That's looking decent. But remember I said I wanted to do something different than what I'd done before. So what about adding in more than one image? And you're allowed to do that. You can have a different image in every single letter if you want. Now, I'm not going to do that. I'll just do one. Let's say I wanted to put, I think I put myself in there. I put a picture of myself in the eye. So let's do that. Let me go insert image. And of course, I'm not going to search for myself on the internet. I don't know that I'd find a picture of myself out there. So I'm going to say, let's upload from the computer. And I should have in my resources, oh, let's see. There's the picture I used. Yeah, that's it. This was me at ISTE. So there we go. So let's say I want to put that in there. Again, I'll go to the format options. Tell you what, we can zoom in a little bit here. I think we can see this a little bit better. There we go. I'm going to go back to the format options and I'm going to adjust the transparency on that. And let's see, let's go ahead and move, oops, get that transparency back up there. There we go. Let's go ahead and move this around until it's just where I want it. I guess I could probably make it smaller. Let's shrink this up a little bit here so that I fit a little bit better inside of the letter. And let's line me up there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'd say that's pretty well lined up. Okay, I like that. Now, at this point, I can drop that transparency back down. But here's the thing. Oops, looks like I didn't go down far enough. I need to go down just a little bit further down here so that I cover the bottom of the letter. Let me go down just a little further. There we go. That looks better. Okay. Now, I can go ahead and drop the transparency back down, but here's the thing. I only want this to cover the letter I. So I'm going to double click on it to crop it. I need to pull this in so that it is not covering anything but the letter I, because I can't have it get in the way of the other letters there. And again, if having the transparency on helps, that's fine. I could do a semi-transparency so I can really see the edges well there. Looks like that's good. I've got it covering the I, but it's not getting into the R or the C. That's pretty good. So now I can drop the transparency down and then I can use my order option to push it backwards. And awesome. Look at that. How nice that is. So I've got one picture behind everything, but then between that picture and the word art, I've got another picture. And so a lot of people did that kind of stuff. Again, if you look in the agenda where I've got that folder of examples people shared, there's a lot of them in there where people were doing that. They were using multiple different pictures together, in there. Like, let me see, here's one of them here where we've got something, a different thing inside of each one of those. I thought that was great. So that's really cool. All right, we're doing pretty good, but I still want to go a little bit further with this than that, because one of the questions people asked was, hey, Eric, what I'd like to do is I'd like to be able to have the outline around the letters, but I don't want the outline around the word art. And so one thing that kind of helped us, you can tell by changing the size of the slide, the top of the word art box doesn't matter anymore. That's not going to show up. The top is going outside of this. But the problem is I still have it going down the side here on the left and the right. And so if I want to have a border around all the letters, I'm going to have this funny line showing up. So if I go, for example, into presentation mode, we're going to see this black line cutting down here and cutting down here. Now you could say, well, Eric, that's not a big deal. All you really need to do is stretch the word, grab this, and drag the word over more so it's over to the side more. I could do that, but the problem is sometimes you get so close to the edge, that doesn't look good. So let me just show you another trick. Here's a trick that I found that I thought really helped a lot. What I do is I add extra stuff on each side of the word in the word art so that the word art box extends out. So the way you do that is just double click on your word art box to bring it back up. And instead of having the word Eric in there, I want to put some spaces in front of it and behind it. But you can't just do spaces. If I just go like space, 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 space on either side and press enter, it doesn't change a thing because it doesn't listen to the spaces. So what I need to do is I need to put something and then a space. So I'll go to the front of my name, Eric, and I can put in, it doesn't really matter. You could put the letter X in if you want it. I usually just use a period. And then I'll do a period, then a space. And on the end of my name, I'll do a space and a period. And now when I hit enter, it's going to put that in. All I have to do is recenter it. If I just go to arrange and say center on the page horizontally, it'll recenter it. And if in what I know it's a little hard to see, because we can't see through this. If I make this transparent, you might be able to see it. You see now the period and the space and the period and the space are extending the word art box outside of the canvas, outside of the slide. Awesome. So that's really what I've been doing a lot of times. That's how I'm getting the end result that looks more like this, where it doesn't have extra space on top or bottom. So I've changed the size of the slide, but then I've added that little extra stuff. I've put, the spaces in front of and beyond the word so that it extends beyond there as well. Now, once I've done that, I'm in really good shape now. I could download that and I would have just this image without all this other stuff around it. And again, if you're not sure what's it really going to look like when it downloads, remember, just take a look in the top left-hand corner on your slide preview and you can always see a preview. This other stuff on the outside is not going to show. It's just going to be this. Now, we can start having fun with this. If I have this, I could now take this slide and I could duplicate this slide and start playing with it. Now, this is one of the reasons I like doing this in slides, is once I've made one version of it, I like going, do I really like that version? Is that the best version? Is that really what I like? And so what I can do is I can start playing around by basically duplicating this slide and then making changes to it. Now, how do I duplicate the slide? Easiest way is to press Control D or Command D for duplicate, but you don't have to. You can right click on the slide and say duplicate as well, or you can copy and paste the slide. I typically just press Control D or Command D. So you click on the slide on the left, you got to click on the left on the slide itself. If I press Control D, it duplicates it. So now I've got two copies of that slide. Well, what I do on the second one is go, maybe I don't want a white background. Maybe I want a black background. Okay, well, let's click on my slide, my word art, and let's fill it in black. And now I can say, do I like that better? And I can take a look at it and be like, yeah, that's pretty cool, and I can check it out. Maybe if I've got a black background, maybe I want the line going around the words to be white. So I could click on this, and instead of doing the background fill, I could change the border color. I could say, let's make it white. And maybe I want it to be thicker. Let's make it like 3 pixels thick. And so I just start playing with it. And so that's all I do is I take the first one and go, hey, I like this one. This one's pretty cool, but let's just start making variations of it until you find something that you like. And so I'll just duplicate it a whole bunch of times, and I'll just start playing with each one of them. So, on this one, maybe I'll again make the border a little bit darker, and maybe this time I'll do a drop shadow. That's a cool thing. So what I could do is I could click on the word art, and then I could go up to format options up in the top toolbar. And from format options, one of the options is a drop shadow. Now, a drop shadow normally, think about what would normally happen. So try to predict what's going to happen here. Normally, a drop shadow puts a shadow below and to the right of the item. But remember, this is an inverted font. So the letters, that's the part that's transparent. So when you do a drop shadow here, watch what happens. I click on this and I click on drop shadow. It puts the drop shadow inside of it because that's the transparent part. So you get this really cool cutout look that comes from it. And of course, you can adjust that drop shadow. You can change the angle. You can change the distance. You can change the transparency of it. You can adjust the drop shadow to look however you want. But what a neat effect that gives us, And then maybe on another one, I wanted a colored background. Sure, go to the fill button and, maybe fill it in blue. And maybe on the other one, I do how about a gradient background? What is a gradient background? Well, if I click on the word art and I click on the paint can button, instead of a solid color, I can go to a gradient color. There's a bunch of pre-made gradients, or I can customize my own gradient. Now, what's a gradient? Well, basically, it's ready to go from one color to another, either top to bottom or left to right or center to outward. So like I could come here and I could say, let's do a red that goes from lighter to darker red, or let's do a green that goes from lighter to darker green. Or I could build my own. I could make my own gradient. But that's the idea. Little by little by little, I just play around with these things. And so now when it's all done, I've got all these versions, just a regular one with a drop shadow, one with a blue background, one with a green gradient, black with the white. And that's the idea, is you just keep playing around with them until you come up with something fun out of that. All right. Cool stuff. All right. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'm going to pause there for a second. We're going to move on to the next example here. But I want to see if there's any questions that have come in that I need to address before that. So I apologize on that. So let's see. It looks like we've had definitely some, some activity in the chat here. So Don said it's a bummer that there's only one font choice that does this. Absolutely, I agree with you, Dawn. I am hoping that Google is going to get some more fonts in our font choices here, so that we can choose some things besides just Zilla. I'm so glad we have Zilla, but it'd be awesome to have some more options in there as well. Let's see what else has popped in here. Wanda saying that's awesome. Hey, Wanda, I appreciate that. Peggy saying this is so much fun, and kids always love doing things with their own names. I agree. Hey, it's my buddy Eric Griffith. Hey, so glad to have you here. I really appreciate you joining us tonight. If you guys don't know Eric Griffith, you got to know him. You got to connect with him. He's a fantastic, awesome guy. Shares wonderful, wonderful ed tech resources. Wanda again saying, looking forward to seeing me at NC Ties. Yes, I will be in Raleigh, North Carolina for the NC Ties conference, and I'm very excited about that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Oh, I did see one of the most common questions, and I will address this. Cassandra says, "Can this be done on an iPad?" I'll go ahead. Let's put a little pin in my progression here. I'm going to move on to these other more advanced things here. We'll do the animations and we'll do the double image. But the question about, can you do this on an iPad? So the short answer is yes. The long answer is it is complicated. So here's the thing. Just got to be honest with you guys. I do not own an iPad. So this is not coming from me. These are not my directions. I have not been able to, try this out. But I asked out into the world, and I was able to get some great feedback on this. So way at the bottom of the agenda document, and if for any reason you've lost track of the agenda document, remember that is going to be bit.ly/Kurtz-photo words. So Sue Hellman, who is a member of my Control-Alt-Achieve email discussion group, which, by the way, if you're not a member of that, this is why you want to join something like that. At the very top of the document, here's the link to join our email discussion group. That's where the brain trust is at. That's where all these people are sharing so many amazing things. Well, Sue was, and I didn't just put her email in here. She gave me permission. She said, let people know if they still have questions to contact her. So she went deep into this, and she's basically, I will not do it justice. All the information is here from her. The short answer is, you can do it. The long answer is, it is difficult, because on an iPad, she said, some of the functions only work if you're using the desktop version on the iPad, and others only work if you're using the mobile app version. And she found that weird. And so she literally had to open both of them. She had to open up her photo word in both the mobile app, the Slides app on the iPad, and at the very same time, she also had to open it up in the desktop version inside of Chrome, not Safari, but inside of Chrome. And so she kind of started it in the desktop version, because that let her do the Zilla slab highlight, that let her get all of that set up. Then she switched over to the mobile version, and that's where she was able to finish it off. So it had to be a tag team thing. She said, basically, you're collaborating with yourself. You're doing, one device with both of those open. So she said it does sound complicated, but once you tried a few times, she felt that it became something that she could do pretty easily. So big props to Sue. Thank you for that answer. A lot of people have asked about that, and I wanted to make sure that I had that answer for you guys tonight. So I hope that helped. And again, if anybody needs that document, bit.ly/Kurtz-photo words. All right, well, we're going to keep going. Now, I know some folks, if you need to cut out at any point here, please know this is being recorded, of course, since it is being live streamed. So I'm going to keep on going. I am going to show you things like how to create the animations, how to do the double image approach here as well. But again, I totally get it. I appreciate your time. If some people do need to cut out, you can always come back and catch the rest of the video in its recorded format. But I'm going to go ahead and keep on moving. And again, those that are still with us, keep on throwing stuff. Oh, Lisa said, sad I'm not coming to TCEA. Yes, I would love to Yeah, let's make sure we can make that happen. I had such a great time at TCEA, but it's been a couple of years and I would absolutely like to be back there. I will be coming down to Austin for the Library Association meeting though, later in the spring here. Oh, hey Garth, my wonderful friend Garth is here as well. Thanks so much for being here, Garth. Thanks for saying hi. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's keep on moving. So for those that are still hanging out, we're going to go deeper. So time to go the next level deeper. And we're going to work on how do you do one of these where you've got the image inside of the word, but then you also have the word or the image again below it. Well, it's not too complicated, but it's just the next step up. So let's go ahead and I'll create another slide. And I'm going to move much quicker this time because we've seen a lot of these basics. I'm going to go ahead and insert my word art. And I'm going to type in the word sunset. You guys all know what I'm doing here. I'm going to change this to Zilla Slab Highlight. I'm going to put it in bold. I'm going to start stretching it out so it's bigger. And then because for this one, I want to have part of it covered and part of it not. I'm going to move it up to the top here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the sunset like we saw here inside of the word and then down below as well. Okay, so there we go. And I should give this a name so I don't lose track of things. We'll call this example sunset. Okay, let's add the sunset image in here now. So I'll do insert image, search the web, and I'll just type in sunset. I think the one I liked was there was a marina subset, sunset marina. Yep, that was the one I used. So I'm going to grab this image here. I'm going to insert the image. And let's go ahead and stretch it out so it covers everything. And tell you what, we've got to zoom out. Use the zoom. The zoom really helps you back out so you can see things better. I'm going to throw on the transparency here because I got to be able to see what I'm looking at. So let's go into the format options. Let's go to adjustments and let's move that transparency up. That looks better. So now I can see that a little bit better. So I think what I want to do, let's see, I think I would like the sunset to just sit. I want the shoreline here of the water right below the word sunset. So I can move this up and down. I think I'll get it just about right there or so. That looks good. I don't know. We'll see once I get it. I think that looks pretty good. I don't need so much here on the top. So I think I will double click on my sunset picture and I will crop this down because I don't need it to be quite so far up there. Okay. And now let's think about the size of our slide. Does it need to be this big? Probably not. It's probably too tall. I don't think I need my slide this big. I think probably it needs to be wider and not so tall. So here's that trick again. Remember, I know this seems a little nerve-wracking when you do it, but I'm going to select everything on my slide. So I'm grabbing the word art and the image. I'm going to copy it. So I'm copying all of it and I'm going to delete it. I am. I'm just going to go boop and delete it out and go, let's temporarily delete it. We'll put it back. Let's go file, page setup. Let's change these. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, 4.5 might be okay. Let's try 4.5. Let's paste it back in. Let's move it around. You know, that looks okay. That looks pretty good. I think I might be able to live with that. That's not too bad. So it's just a matter of trying to decide what you think looks good. And there's no right answer to this. You know, it's what in the end you think looks good. I do want though to get it to the edge because right now it's not going to the edge. So I do need to stretch this out so it gets to the edge of the slide. And I can go beyond if I want. It doesn't matter if I go over the edge. I just have to get at least out to the edge. I don't want any extra space there, you know, on the edge. And then I don't want the box around sunset. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on it. Oh, excuse me, I got to push the picture behind it. Yep, got to push it behind there. So let's go ahead and we can change the transparency, move that back down to 0. Let's push this behind. There we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that same trick for sunset. I'm going to double click on it and I'm going to put a period, a space, maybe 2 spaces, and then 2 spaces and a period on the end. And then I will recenter that, arrange center horizontally. Boom, there we go. That's looking pretty good. So now I've got the word sunset there. Let's see, let's see where the edge of my, I may need to move this up a little bit to cover the edge of my slide. Sometimes I go back and forth, you know, I'll make that transparent for a second. Let's make this semi-transparent for a second as well. You'll see me do this a lot. I'll jump around. Where's the edge of the slide? Oh no, it's there. Oh, that's fine. I'm going way above it. Excellent. Yeah, there's the edge of the slide. I'm good. I'm on there really well. Okay, that sounds great. So let's drop that transparency back down and let's go ahead and fill this in. That's looking pretty good. Okay, I can live with that. So at this point, what I need to do is figure out how do I get it so that I've got the sunset words sitting right on top of the actual water there. Well, it's not a big trick. You probably already figured this out. But what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to click on the image in the background. And I'm going to duplicate the image. You can copy paste it, or again, Control D for duplicate. So I'm going to duplicate the image. So now I've got two copies of the same picture. I'm going to put the picture back on top of the other one, and I'm going to double click on it to crop it. And I'm going to crop down the second copy of the image until the second copy lines right up. Whoops, sorry about that. I always click in the wrong place. Got to get that back. There we go. Until it's right. Oh, I may have gone too far off. Hold on. Let me, sometimes I end up clicking too far. There we go. There we go. Drag it down and get it right up to the edge of the letters there. Awesome. So now we've got two copies of the picture. There's a picture behind the word art, then there's the word art, then there's a picture on top of it. And so now if I look at that, you'll see I'm getting the picture twice and it's bleeding right into itself. How cool. Isn't that neat? That's really cool. Now, at this point, again, I can do all kinds of stuff with this. So if I'm happy with what I've got, I'll come up here. Remember, Control D. I'll click on the slide in the top left and go Control D, 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 D. I'll duplicate a bunch of them and I'll just play with it. I'll be like, okay, what else could I do with this? And so maybe I'll come here and say, okay, instead of, the sunset, being white with the outline here, maybe I want to take off the outline, because like up here, the outline I think is, well, I probably could have made, it's kind of a gray. I could have made it black so it stands out a little bit better, but maybe I don't want the outline at all. I could click on the border color and say transparent for the border color. Maybe that looks cool. I don't know. You can kind of go between them. Here's border around the letters, no border around the letters. Or let's try another one. Maybe I want to fill in maybe a drop. Hey, let's do this. Let's do no border, but a drop shadow. So no border, but maybe we come here and we do a drop shadow. Maybe that looks cool. I don't know. That's the beauty. You can try this out over and over again. Maybe I want to fill in a color back here. So maybe I click here and I say, let's fill this in with a light yellow. That looks pretty cool. So we got a nice light yellow there. Or maybe I want to do, again, one of those gradients. So maybe I come here and I say, let's fill in a gradient. And maybe I do a yellow gradient going from lighter to darker. So as I start going through these, if we look at these, now I've got all these versions, a black outline of the letters, no outline of the letters, drop shadow in the letters, solid yellow, gradient yellow. Now here's another cool one. What about a semi-transparency? Now, do you guys remember when we did the shared photo folder? I showed you this one with the climbing. Nope, that wasn't it. Sorry. Which one was it? Oh, I hope and now I won't be able to find it. I probably won't be able to find it fast enough. There was somebody who did a real, oh, nope. I still can't see it. It's okay. I thought I had one here. It's no worries. I'll show it to you right now. So here's what we can do. So this is another trick. We're going deeper into the deep end of the pool here, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the word art. I'm going to go to the fill button, but instead of making it white, instead of making it yellow, instead of making it a gradient like this, instead of any of those things, what I'm going to do, we'll put it back to white. I'm going to make it semi-transparent. So the image also kind of shows through in the background as well. So how do you do that? So I click on the word art, I go to the fill button, and then I go to custom. Now you don't want to say transparent, because transparent, there's nothing. It just all shows through. We don't want transparent. So we'll leave it on white, but then go to the fill color and go to custom. Hit the little plus for custom. And notice I can pick a custom color, but look what I can do. I can adjust the transparency of my current color. Now, because it's white, what I can do is I can say, let's pull this down maybe to 75%. So just a quarter of the way down. Now, when I hit OK, oh, look at that. Now I'm getting some of the picture in the background as well. So let's take a look at how that looks. Oh, isn't that cool? So now I've got the image back there too, and I've got the word pulled out. So the point is, guys, you can have a blast with this. There's all kinds of really neat stuff that you can do. So anyway, we're going to pause there again because the last thing we're going to talk about is doing animation. So I still want to get to that. But again, I'm going to pause and take a look at what we've got here in the comments. For those that are still hanging with us here, let's see. We're seeing somebody saying this is awesome. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you. That's good. Thanks for the iPad information. You bet. Peggy George saying brilliant work from Sue Hellman. I absolutely agree. So appreciating that. Monica says popping in a little late. See you at FETC. Yes, I will be at FETC. You can catch all of my sessions there. bit.ly/Kurtz-FECT- or FETC 23 here. I'll just pull up. If you go to Control-Alt-Achieve and you go to my calendar, that's the easiest way to do it. Just go to my blog post, go to my calendar, and there we go. So here's my blog post with everything for FETC. These are all the sessions I'll be doing. Got a pretty busy schedule there at FETC, but I hope to see people there. Really looking forward to that. But yeah, definitely check out my calendar button at any point on my blog at Control-Alt-Achieve. That'll give you a list of all of the different conferences I'm going to be at and the things I'll be presenting. All right, let's see if there's anything else before we move on here. Thanks for showing this. Absolutely. Let's see. Matthew, I did some basic ones on our school campus from our super one campus called #1 star point. Thanks, Eric. This is awesome. That's great. Love it. Love it. Kathy says, thanks for this tutorial. I want to do this with our advisory kids. What is their one word for 2023? Yeah, that's fantastic. I love it. Love it. Love it. Great stuff. Good things. All right. Like it, like it, like it. All right. Shirley's saying, thanks for showing about duplicating the slides. Yep, that's what I do. That's one of the reasons I really like slides for this is I can just try out so many different versions of this. I think it's great. All right, well, let's keep on moving because I do want to show you some animation options. Two different ways to do animations. Now, for the first one, I know I just said how much I love Google Slides because I do. I think Google Slides is a great tool for this, but you can do this with Google Drawings as well. Because if you're not familiar, Google Drawings is basically Google Slides if you just had one slide. That is what Google Drawings is. It's basically a subset of Google Slides. It's like a one slide version. Now you say, Eric, now why would you want to do that? If you do slides, you can do all these versions. And I agree with you. If you want to do all these different versions, slides is the way to go. But sometimes there's a couple little benefits you get from doing it in Google Drawings. So for my next example, I'm going to do Google Drawings. You do not have to. What I'm going to show you to do this fire, you can do this exactly the same in Google Slides. I just want to show you that it can be done in Google Drawings so you have the choice if you want to. So instead of doing slides.new, I'm going to do drawing.new, and I'm going to make a Google drawing. So this is Google Drawings, okay? It is, again, it is Google Slides if you stripped out everything as far as like the multiple things go and you just have one canvas to work on. Now, there are two benefits. Yes, I'm giving up the ability to very quickly duplicate it and look at various versions. But there are two pretty nice benefits. And I'm going to run through those with you here as I go through this as to why sometimes I like to jump into drawings instead. So we're going to do the word fire and we're going to put and make it animated. So just like before here, I better put in a title for this so I don't forget what I'm doing. So we're going to say this is example fire. Let's go insert word art and let's type in the word fire. And guys, this is just like slides. Nothing special here. I typed in a word art. I'm going up to my fonts. There's Zilla Slab, just like in slides. There's Zilla Slab. I'm now going to make it bold, and I'm now going to stretch it so that it gets bigger. Nothing different here. All of this is still very much like we've done so far. Nothing too crazy here. Now, here's where one of the very first things comes in that's a little bit different that I really like. It is way easier to resize the canvas in drawings than it is in slides. When you're in slides, you have to basically, like I've shown you, figure out kind of how big it needs to be, then select everything, delete everything, go into the page setup, put in a new one, paste it back in and go, oh, that's not what I wanted, and try again. Guess what you can do in drawings? Look at the bottom right-hand corner. Oh, there's a little teeny little dog ear down in the bottom right corner. You can just grab that and oh my gosh, you can just resize it. Ah, it's so nice. Why doesn't Slides have that? It would be so nice to have that in Slides. Now, again, I'm going to zoom out because I want to be able to see this a little bit better. But see how easy that is? You can just grab the corner and you can just change the size of it. It's great. So I can say, okay, I'm going to make this, fit within here. So let's bring it down to about here and maybe move. Well, I'll tell you what, let's make this transparent so I can see what I'm doing here. Let's move up the fire. So let's say fire sits about there and let's just snug this guy up a little bit. There we go. So now you can see it's sitting much nicer on that. And I didn't have to keep copying, deleting, changing the size, repasting. It's just, that's kind of nice. Now I am going to do the thing that I normally do where I don't think I have to put the dots on this one. I think it's okay. I think I can leave this one without that, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the background black anyway, so it'll all blend in. That's fine. So we won't do that this time. Okay. So next, I've got my word. And again, you could do this totally the same on a slideshow. Absolutely. What I'm going to do for this one is I want to put an animated GIF behind it. Instead of putting an image, a still image, hey, an animated GIF is just a special kind of image. So we can put an animated GIF behind our word. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Insert Image. I'm going to search the web. And instead of just typing in fire, I'm going to type in fire animated GIF. Oops, I hit PNG. Sorry about that. Sorry. There we go. Fire animated GIF. Now, what if some of these aren't actually animated? If you're not sure, instead of clicking on it and inserting it and then going, that didn't work, notice if I just hover above the bottom right corner of any of these, I get a little magnifying glass. That's a preview. So if I click on that little magnifying glass, I can be like, that one is animated. And I can even scroll through these and see which ones, because there may be some that actually aren't animated and some of them that are. And so this is a nice way to be able to check that out. Well, I'm just going to use this first one. It's totally fine. I'll just use this one. I'll click Insert. And now what I want to do is I want to put this behind my word fire. So I'm going to stretch it out so it covers the word. So let's do that. And I may need to zoom out a little bit more here if I can't see it. And I can crop this down here. Let's crop it down a little bit. And you can crop GIFs. You can just double click on them and crop that down. Okay. And let's push it behind. So we'll do the same thing. I'll use my control down arrow to push it behind. Okay, there it's behind. And I can adjust it, say, let's maybe move it up a little bit. That looks pretty good. I could even crop it down a little bit more if I needed to, but that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. So at this point, I've got my word fire. I've got the animated GIF behind it. I've cropped it all to kind of fit in there. All I need to do is make the background black and the word art black. So to make the background black, I still have a little bit of the background peeking out on the edge. If you don't, you may need to move things temporarily. Here, I'll zoom back in so we can see this a little bit better. But just peeking out on the edge, you can see I've got a little bit of background here. So I'm going to right click on that background and say background, change the color to black. And then I'm going to go to my word art and I'm going to say fill it with black. And I think my line is black. Looks pretty good. Let's zoom out a little bit so we can see this better now. Yeah, that looks awesome. How cool. So there you go. So now I've got my word art with a animated GIF playing behind it. Now, here's the thing though. When you do this, you can't then just say, I want to download this, because there's not a GIF option. If you download this as a PNG, it's going to take a snapshot of it. It will not be animated. It'll just be a snapshot. Now, that was fine for everything else. I just want a snapshot of this, or I just want a snapshot of that. But what do you do when it's animated like that? Well, basically, if it is a slideshow, and I think I've got an example of let me see if I've got my a slideshow version of this. Yeah, here we go. I'll bring over. So here's a slideshow version. So see, this is Google Slides and this is Google Drawings. So same thing in both of them. What you could do, of course, is you could publish it to the web. If you haven't seen that before, that's where you go File, share, publish to the web. And you hit publish and you hit OK, and it gives you a special link. If you copy that link, anybody who clicks that link, it'll open it up as a full screen slideshow that's playing. So let's try it out. Let's paste that in and see what that looks like. Oh, I thought I hit published. Sorry about that. I probably did, but I didn't give it enough time. Sometimes I'm too quick on the draw here. Let's republish it. So let's hit publish, okay, and hopefully I made it happy this time. Copy, and we'll come over here and paste it in. And I hope I made it happy. There it is, perfect. And so there's a published version of it. Now that's something you guys can do tonight. If you create something that you want to share with everybody, that's a great way to do it. Click File, click Share, click Publish to the web, hit OK, and get this link. You can take that link and you can put it in our shared document. So that would be great. Remember, in our agenda, if you've lost track of that again, in our agenda, we have at the very top, right below my contact info, there's a sharing document. And so if you click on that sharing document, you can put some people putting images in there. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic, guys. There's tons of stuff in here. You can, in addition to putting an image, you can also put a link in there. That's great. I should have checked earlier. We'll have to check again later. Okay. Now, one more cool thing though. Here's the second thing I like about drawings. Okay. So I already told you that I like how I can change the the size of the canvas much easier. Here's another cool thing. You can embed Google Drawings inside of Google Sites, and it doesn't look like a slideshow. It doesn't have all the slideshow stuff around it. Let me show you what I mean by that. Let's say I go to Google Sites. I'll just grab a demo. These are all just demo things from trainings and stuff that I've done. So let's just grab, this is just a pretend slide, not a real site at all that I'm doing anything with. But let's say, there we go. Let's say I want to drop this Google drawing inside of this Google site. So what did I call it? I called it Example Fire. Okay, just got to remember what I called it there. So I can come here to my Google Drive and say that I want to search for Example Fire. Is that what I called it? Example Fire? Yes, Example Fire. Okay, let's see if I can find something with example. There it is. And it's a Google drawing. Now, if I insert a Google drawing into a Google site, I can move it to the center or wherever I want, and I can change the size of this, and I can get it so that it just fits just right. Keep adjusting it. Oh, that looks good. There you go. And now if I go to preview it, there it is, embedded in the site. So that's such a cool way to do that. If you do that with slides, you get that whole slide controller around it with the forward and backwards and all of that. But with drawings, you can embed it right in your sites. How about that? You created your own awesome custom one right there. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Now, that's one way to do it. Okay, so that's an option. You can just put an animated GIF in the background behind your text. There is one other way to do it, and that is going to be this one. This is the last one I'm going to show you guys here. So I'm going to pause one last time because this is the fourth and final example that I'm going to show here tonight. I'm going to see if there's anything that I missed in the comments before we go into our final one here. I'm taking a look. Please bear with me here. Dawn says, I like it better in Google Drawings. So much easier to resize. I am with you. You are right on the money there. But I like slides for making various versions of it. So, yeah. Karen says, wanting to start a newsletter for my staff. This will be a nice feature to include. Absolutely. That would be great. Matt saying, I want slides to have that tool too. Yes, I agree. Absolutely. So good. All right. All right, very, very good. Well, let's go ahead and let's do this final one. Okay, so for this final one, it's a different way of doing animation. Now, for this one, we're actually doing what I like to call stop motion animation. So if you're in our agenda and you go all the way down to the advanced section, what you're going to see is in the advanced section here, I talk about creating an animation two different ways. The first one we already did, adding an animated GIF. The next one is creating it by basically doing stop motion animation. Now, I have a tutorial right here that goes into everything you need to know about stop motion animation. I'm going to do this super quick here. This tutorial will give you everything you need. So down here under advanced, if you go to the section on doing stop motion animation here, basically creating your own animation, this tutorial will take you out to my document on creating stop motion animation. And it includes not only the directions here, but a 1 hour recorded webinar. This webinar is a 1 hour webinar that goes into all of the gory details on stop motion animation. Again, that one's bit.ly/Kurtz-stop motion, but the link is right here as well where it says tutorial for creating your own animation. So I'm just telling you that ahead of time because I'm going to go faster than I would want to go, and I don't want you to feel frustrated. I want you to know that you can always go back to the advanced section, go to this tutorial, and from there, you can access a 1 hour webinar and loads and loads and loads of step-by-step directions on doing a stop motion animation. So let me show you how this one works. So we'll do slides.new one last time. And again, I know folks need to leave. No worries. I totally get that. I'm going to keep on going to finish this, and you can always catch the recording later if you need to. So this is it. This is the last one. Unless you guys have questions, I have no problem hanging out with you afterwards and answering questions. So if there's something we still need to cover, we can do it. Okay, last one. Let's do this. Where was it? Now if I can find it again. Oh, there he is. Oh, there is the zoom with a race car zooming by. Let's show you how to make this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the word zoom. So we'll do insert word art, and we'll type in zoom with an exclamation mark. We'll turn that into Zillow Lab highlight. We'll bold it, and we're going to italicize it this time. So we want it to like zoom. We want to show this thing zooming. We're going to make this bigger so it, fills up the screen a little bit better there. Awesome. And then again, I'm definitely going to want to shrink down the size of this. Now, this you have to do in slides. You can't do this kind of animation in drawings because remember, drawings only gives you one canvas. To do stop motion animation, you need multiple slides. So you have to do it in slides. So I'm going to grab this. Let me copy it and let's delete it out and let's tidy this guy up. Let's say we'll change the page setup to, I don't know if four may not, maybe 3. Let's see what 3 looks like. Let me just go back. And again, I just fiddle with this until I find something I'm happy with. 3 is bigger than it needs to be also. Let's copy that and make it a little bit smaller. I think I can go smaller. Let's go like, I don't know if 2 is too small. 2 might be too, yeah, 2 is too small. So let's do 2.5. See why I like drawings though? Yeah, drawings is kind of nice for that. I think 2.5 is going to get us there. I'm pretty happy with that. That looks good. Okay, so there we go. So we've got the word zoom sitting on there. Let's make it transparent temporarily so I can see well. And I'm going to have to put some spaces in front and behind zoom because I've got to cover up this outside area. So let's do a period, 3 spaces, 3 more spaces, and a period. And let's recenter that. Arrange, center horizontally. Love it. There we go. So now the word art is perfectly on there. It's going above, below, left, and right. It's completely covering it. Looks great. And I don't think I needed 3 dots. I probably could have got away with 2 spaces instead of 3 spaces, but that's okay. It's fine. All right. Now I need a picture. So let's go insert image, search the web. And I'm going to do a race car, but I'm going to cheat because I know which one I want. So I think the one I'm going with, it was called IMG_9811. So if you want to use the same race car I'm using, this is the one I found that I liked. So it's IMG like image_9811. That search finds it for me. This is the race car. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this race car. You may say, well, why this race car? Why was this one the one that you wanted so bad? Well, here's the thing, guys. If you want to do an animation, you can't just put a car in and move it because it needs space in front of it and space behind it. So when the car's moving, you don't get a big blank area. So when you look at this one, see how there's never a big blank area? Why is that? That's because in this picture, I found a picture that had some extra space here and extra space here to give me a little room to work with. There you go. Okay. Well, let's crop this up. It does not need to be that big. We'll crop this up, and I can probably, and then let's do the semi-transparency on it. Let's make it semi-transparent so I can see better. Okay. That looks pretty good. I think I can see it pretty well there. Now, I'm probably going to make it bigger still because I need enough. Well, let's make it a little more transparent. I don't think I made it transparent enough there. Let's take it all the way up to 50%. There, that looks better. All right, that looks good. What I need to do is I am going to need to be able to put the car so that the edge of the image just covers the exclamation mark, and then move it until the edge of the image hits the Z. I can't go any further or it becomes blank there, and I can't start any sooner or it's blank here. So I think I'm probably going to make this as big as I can so it still looks okay though. I think that's pretty decent. That would let me start here, and it would let me move all the way to there. That's okay. I think I can live with that. That's not too bad. So that's what I'm doing is I'm just trying to figure out what my starting point is. I can crop this up a little bit more, but I am going to leave the bottom hanging out because I want to be able to grab it easily. So I'm going to leave it hanging out on the bottom there. And then we can do our normal stuff. I can bring the transparency all the way back down, and then I can push this in the background, and I can fill in the background or the fill color of my word art. I can make that white and make my line black and maybe make it a little thicker line. Perfect. So now at the moment, what does it look like? This is what people are going to see. That's the first image. They're going to get the word zoom and just the start of the car. So how do I make it animated? Well, I'm going to take my slide and duplicate it. We've done that before. So right click, duplicate, control C, control V, paste, or just control D, duplicate. So I'm going to do control or command D to duplicate it. And if you've done stop motion, you know what I'm doing next. This is the first slide. This is the second slide. On the second slide, I'm going to click on the image and I'm going to move it. Now I'm going to move it a bunch because we don't have enough time to do it step by step. I'm going to move it 10 right arrow clicks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. So my first slide is here. My second slide, the car has moved 10 right arrow presses to the right. I'm just pressing the right arrow key on my keyboard. Then I'm going to duplicate the slide again and move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you get the idea. I'm just going to keep doing that. I'm going to keep duplicating it and moving it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 again and again and again. Now, folks, if you want to take the time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and do this just a single, arrow click at a time, you can make this much smoother. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I don't have the time to do that here today. So I'm doing it in these larger jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I can probably get a couple more in here before we run out of space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe one more. I think that's it. I think I can get one more in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes, I'm too close to the edge now. So if I go to my first slide, as I move down, I'm moving the image behind the word art. So basically, it's moving behind it on each slide. So how do I make this be an animation now? Well, there's two options here, and I've got both of those again explained in the handout here, and if you ever lose the directions, the agenda, it's bit.ly/Kurtz-photo words. There it is again. But you can either use it, you can do publish to the web, or you can use a website called Tall Tweets to turn it into an animated GIF. I'll show you both real quick. So the first one is, let's do the publish to the web option. If I click File, Share, Publish to the Web, but instead of just hitting publish, let me zoom in and show you something. Instead of just hitting publish, what I can do is I can change how much time is between each slide. I can say, move it forward every second, start it right away, and loop it at the end. Now, I didn't do that before. This is for animation. This is for stop motion. Make it be faster, just a second between each slide, start it right away, and loop it at the end. Now, if I hit publish, and I say, okay, This is a special link. This link now isn't going to be a still slideshow. It's going to be a slideshow that's playing through every 1 second. So if I copy this and I paste that into a new tab, now every second the car is moving through. Now you can make it faster than that. There are some tricks. And again, if you go into that agenda document on stop motion animation, there are ways to trick it and make it go a little faster. Basically what it comes down to is editing the tail end of the address and changing it from, I'll show you real quick in our shared document here. This is what the link looks like. The tail end of the address where it says delay delay milliseconds. That's how much time there is between each slide. You can take that down. I could say, let's move it forward every 50 milliseconds, Well, now that's going to be crazy fast. It's going to be like zoom. And now it's really moving, And so that's one way you can do that. You can publish it to the web and you can hack the end of the address to change the delay milliseconds to something faster. Now, there is one other way to do this. Instead of doing that, you can go to a website called Tall Tweets. Now, again, if you're in my agenda document under advanced options, the first one we just did, publishing it to the web as stop motion. The second is turning it into an animated GIF. I've got a tutorial on that one as well. There's an awesome website out there called Tall Tweets. That's the name of the website. And it's at talltweets.com. And so I'm going to head on out to that website. And that's really what it is, talltweets.com. That's really the name of it. And from Tall Tweets, what you can do is you can grab a slideshow that you have and it will turn it into an animated GIF for you. So I've got my slideshow, of course. We've all got that. There's my slideshow. And if I go to talltweets.com and I go to the Tall Tweets Classic, just the classic mode, and I hit select a presentation, I can grab my race car that I just created there and open it up. Now, when it opens up, it's going to ask me how much time I want between each slide and how big I want the final GIF to be, and it will put them together for me into an animated GIF. Now, what's so cool about that is an animated GIF, you can do anything you want with then. You can put that here, let's try it. So first of all, the width, I don't know, any width is fine. We'll just do 640. We don't need to make this one big for this example. And for this time in seconds, we'll do 0.1 seconds. We'll make it, I don't know, is that fast enough? Maybe 0.05. Let's see. Let's hit create GIF and see what it looks like. So, oh my, that's really fast. Maybe 0.1 was okay. Let's do it again. 0.1. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So 640 pixels across, 0.1 seconds in between them. There's the GIF. You hit the save button and there you go. It just created an animated GIF for you. So now if I come back to our sharing document, I can come over to our sharing document and I could just actually insert that because that's just an image. I could come here and say insert image, upload from computer. I could go to my downloads. It should be sitting in there and there it is. And now there it is. There's the animated GIF right inside of our document. And so that's so cool. That's a great way to be able to do that as well. Whoo-wee. All right, guys. Well, let's start to pull all this together now. I know we have looked at a load of things there. So what I want to do at this point, just a couple quick things as we start to pull all of this back together. First of all, I want to see if you have any questions that I have not gotten to. And then I want to look through our sharing document. I'd love to see what you guys have created. So while we're looking at your final questions, if you still want to share something, please feel free to throw it in the sharing document. Remember that if you go to bit.ly/Kurtz-photo words, that'll get you to the agenda document. And at the top of the agenda document, right below my contact info is the sharing doc link. That takes you to the editable document where you can put stuff in if there's something you want to share there. So I'm going to give you guys a moment if you want to do that. And I'm going to look at the comments because I may have missed some things and I apologize if I did. So I'm going to do a quick look through here and see if there's something that I did not get to. Kathy says, so cool for students and vocabulary. I totally agree. Think about that. The ability to be able to see a word and have it be part of a picture, whether it's animated or if it's, if there's a picture inside of it, or if you do the double image thing. What a great way to be able to have that vocab word click for you. I love that. Peggy did ask if I've got the Google Drawings directions. No, I don't. But honestly, it really is no different than what we saw there with slides. The only difference is you're able to grab the corner and drag it up. Other than that, it's the same, exact same steps for creating the photo word there. Let's see, anything else here? Let's see, we're seeing some thanks. I appreciate that, everybody. We got some, you're awesome. Hey, you're awesome too. That's great. Debbie asked about outlining the words, talked about missing that. So just as a quick example, if I pull up any of these with the outlining, really what that comes down to is it comes down to clicking on your word art. And so I'll zoom out a little bit so we can see this a little bit better. Just clicking on the word art and then going up to your top toolbar. There's a paint can button to fill in the background of the word art. So that can make it like yellow or something like that in the background. But then there's the one next to it, and that is the border color. It looks like a little pencil there next to, here's the paint can to fill it in, here's the border. So that's to do the borders. So if I come here, I can say, let's make it a black border, and let's make it, extra thick, and let's make it dotted or whatever. I mean, you can change all these kind of things. You can be really creative with it, however you want it to be. A solid line, a thick line, a different colored line, totally up to you there. But that's where all of that happens. So apologies if I went through that too quickly on that. Anything else here that we need to get to? And then for inside, for inside the letters, you click on it, you click on the word art, you go to format options, and you click drop shadow. If you want to put something inside of the letters like that, that's the drop shadow option. And again, thanks to everybody for answering questions for each other. I think that's really great. I really appreciate you guys helping everybody out. That is wonderful. Sean says, so many micro steps forward to Google education. Yes, we're all learning together here. That is great. Cassandra says, thanks. This was great. I appreciate that. Karen says that was awesome. I'm so glad this was beneficial for you as well. Beth wants to know if this webinar will be available again. Absolutely. So it's a live stream. So it's streaming out on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. It'll be on my YouTube channel. That'll be the easiest way just to get back. Actually, whatever link you're using right now to watch it should get you back to the recording later, but it'll be on my YouTube channel. If you go to the top of the agenda document, my YouTube channel's right there at the top. So yes, this will be available later on for you as well. So let me see what you guys shared. We're just going to scroll down real quick. I see we've got some love with some hearts in there. That's great. Some more love. That's fantastic. Love that. This is great. 2003 here. Oh, that's very, very nice. We've got Kathy. Looks like a boat in the background. We got some flowers, a different one in each letter. Love that. And Dawn, how nice you put a little picture of a rising sun above your name and Dawn. That's really cool. We've got the flyers here. That's excellent. Here's the 1-star point one. Excellent. Oh, here we've got a GIF. Let's see. Let's check out our GIF that we've got. That's great. I love the GIF. That's fantastic. Very, very good. We got some birds. Oh, I love it. I'm a big bird fan. I've got 2 bird feeders right outside my window here. We get lots of awesome Ohio birds all throughout the year coming through here. That's fantastic. Got another one here. Let's take a look and see what we got. Oh, Anthony, I love it. That's great. That is fantastic. That's really good. We got momentum with a cheetah moving through. All right, brain drain. Love it. We got drains and we've got neurons. That's fantastic. Neurons for the brain and drains for the drain. That's so good. You guys are so super creative. Oh, there's Lisa Marie's. Well, guys, I cannot thank you enough. I know this was a lot of time here to throw in tonight, but I just absolutely want to say thank you so very much for taking the time to be with me. It has been a lot of fun for me. When I first came up with this idea, it's been weeks cooking, trying to figure out how to do this. I couldn't figure out how am I going to share this with folks without overwhelming them. So that was the plan. You can always go to my original blog post for a short 16-minute thing. So if you want your students to do this, they do not have to watch this 90-minute version. Remember, if you go to whoops, let me get back to my banner there. If you go to bit.ly/Kurtz-photo words, you can get to that blog post that I did. It's near the top, page 2 under general resources. There's the blog post on creating photo words. And in there, you will see that there is all the directions and a 16-minute video. So that one, I figured, well, that's a good way to get people going. But I figured, oh, there's so much more. So that's what tonight was about. It was just a chance to dive deep for those who want to go into the deep end of the pool. So thanks for going along on the journey with me there. I'm really excited to see what you guys create. I would encourage you, as you do create things, please do share. I would really like to see what you guys come up with. I've been encouraging people to use photo word as the hashtag if you want to. You don't have to, but if you want to hashtag it with photo word, but also please just, tag me or send me an email. I'd love to see what you guys do with this because I want to learn from you as well. All right, last chance to take a look at comments here, seeing some thanks. Well, that is great. I really appreciate everybody being here tonight and taking the time to learn with me. So please stay in touch. Remember, at the top of the top of the agenda document, it's all my contact info, email, Twitter, YouTube. Join our email discussion group, sign up for my newsletter, get connected. I would love to continue to learn with you guys going forward. With all of that said, though, it is time to sign off. So everybody have a great, great night. And I look forward to all the wonderful things your students are going to create. Thanks so much, everybody, and take care.